So yeah, I thought I'd do a video on like I've come up with a bit of a topic on kind of like a follow-up to my anti-work video. Why, like I'd say I'm mostly anti-work, but not fully. And I'll get into reasons to that. And what's influenced this video is I came across like last night. I was just when you have like one of those nights where you kind of feel inspired. Like, I think partly because I was making like these like spectrograms for my music, and I thought, it's like, personally I think it's pretty interesting. It's pretty cool because it's kind of I see it as making visual art through like your music. So I find it interesting, and the YouTube algorithm was pushing like a lot of the like Brian Eno sort of music, so I was listening to some of his like new music that he's done with I think she's called Beanie Wolf or something, where I think they're doing a new album together. And I came across like an interview where he was talking about don't get a job, where he was talking about like he got invited to like a lecture, and he was basically telling the students like try not to get a job because getting a job is a distraction to your craft, like making art, if you know what I mean. And
I think although great new ideas are usually articulated by individuals, they're nearly always generated by communities. And I think what I see as the waste is the waste that we make of that possibility of cooperative intelligence. Being an artist, you hear a lot of talk about genius, which is the process of singling out certain people in art history and saying those were the important ones, Picasso, Rembrandt, Shostakovich, whatever. Whenever you look at any of those artists, you find that they lived and drew from a very, very active, flourishing cultural scene. And they were only one of the elements in that scene. All these people who are called genius actually sat in the middle of something that I call scenius. S-C-E-N-I-U-S. So just as genius is the creative intelligence of an individual, scenius is the creative intelligence of a community. And what I want to see is more attention given to that possibility of creative behavior. So what that means, of course, is two things. One of them is the understanding that all people are born unequal, so everybody has a particular and unique set of gifts and talents, whatever they are. And secondly, that intelligence is generated by communities, by cooperation of some kind. So I suppose the thing about the biggest obstacle to that at the moment is that people have to earn a living. I often get asked to come and talk at art schools, and I rarely get asked back because the first thing I always say is, I'm here to persuade you not to have a job. And the professors always look a bit nervous at that point, since they often consider that their task is to somehow smooth you into a job. So my first message to people is try not to get a job. That doesn't mean try not to do anything. It means try to leave yourself in a position where you do the things that you want to do with your time, and where you take maximum advantage of whatever your possibilities are. And I suppose the obstacle is that, of course, most people aren't in a position to do that. So I want to do anything to work to a future where everybody is in a position to do that. I should say that in terms of basic income, I probably know less about the subject than anybody else here. But what I do know is that the concept is the closest thing I've heard to achieving the kind of future that I would like to live in.
Obviously in a privileged position, in a more privileged position than others. And I don't know, like a lot of these like musicians, like people like Brian Eno, probably live in this privileged artsy-fartsy London bubble, like, or maybe not London. They're more well off than normal people, obviously, and he's admitted by himself. But I thought I'd make this, like, I might have got a clip in this video, I may not. But I thought I'd make this video because, like, so I give my opinion on that, like, because I'm obviously, it's made me, like, I've come across it before this video, but it's kind of like someone that's not really, that struggled to get employment, and I don't, in all honesty, I'm just not the sort, probably due to Asperger's or something, I'm not the sort of person that, like, getting a normal job just doesn't suit me. Nowhere, you get bossed about, and I think more than likely you just get treated like a dickhead. So that's why I'm mostly anti-work. But I think, like, what he was talking about is try not to get a job, but that doesn't mean don't do nothing. Like, use your time as like a tool, like, to make something, and I guess that time is like an artist's best friend. Like I mentioned in my ambition to write a novel video, like writing a novel is like a writer's, like time is a writer's best friend. So I think what I'm trying to say in this video, that I kind of agree with him, where maybe it's made me look at the way my life is, the way my circumstances, because I think when you got a disability and you're claiming disability benefits because you can't quite have the normal 9 to 5, or like you just basically don't want to be miserable in a job. Like, it can make you feel like shit, if you know what I mean. Like I mentioned it before, like you feel bad about it because you get a lot of guilt, because a lot of people would call you out, saying, oh, you're a lazy bastard and all that, and make you feel shame, I pay my taxes for you to sit on your ass. But I think personally a lot of it's a load of bollocks, in my opinion. But what he was saying is, like, try not to get a job, but that doesn't mean don't do nothing. Like, I guess, like, I'm in a privileged position where I don't really have to work. I get enough money to live quite an okay life. But I've got time, like, I make electronic music, not that it gets a lot of attention, or I feel like it's gonna get me anywhere in life, but that's one of my passion projects, if you know what I mean. That's kind of what I'm interested in, and coming from like my more left-wing sort of brain, like I'm the sort of person that I think you should spend your life doing whatever you want, as long as it's not breaking any laws or doing some backwards level sort of stuff. Like, you should spend your time, spend your life on this earth doing something you want to do. And I think a lot of these artists are wired like that, but I think a lot of them probably have a bit of like a leg up in life, come from a bit of privilege and got nepotism and all that, where they've got that opportunity to do that. Whereas I don't, like, I'll probably come from a bit more of like a working class family, or maybe a bit more like lower middle class now, but I think at the time, like, I had problems with like my mum and like mental health issues, but that's a topic for another video. But I guess, like, I think if my parents have paid the mortgage off, I guess if you've paid your mortgage off and live in an okay area, like, or quite a nice area, you're probably a bit more lower middle class. But I don't know. That's a debate for another video. But yeah, like, I guess it makes me look in my situation a bit differently. Like, it reminds me that I'm a bit more lucky, where I don't just, like, I admit I can be a lazy bastard, but I don't just use my time living on benefits, just doing nothing. Like, obviously I make electronic music, I've probably tried a few other things, like volunteer, kind of lost interest in visual arts to a level, because I think, like, being creative just leads to nothing, because I find a lot of people are not easily interested. But it's made me, like, realise, you know what, I can do more of what I want, and I think as far as I'm aware, you only get like one life. I'd rather spend that time doing something I want to do rather than being bossed about by some dickhead slaving away, which a 9 to 5 in some cases I think is modern day slavery. You get these shitty, like, warehouse sort of jobs, and I think that's what the system pushes you into, like, because I think this year's proven that the government, the system, are not on our side. They'd rather us be wage slavey, miserable cunts with severe depression like that. I think that's what they want. I kind of believe that. I think they're kind of pure evil, where there's probably higher levels of the system that I think is quite questionable. You'd probably call me a conspiracy theorist when it comes to that. But I'm not fully anti-work, because I understand there's probably jobs that it would help if people do, like, unimportant jobs like being a doctor, or farming, cleaning things up, like I guess, like, I'm not fully anti-work for, like, the important sort of jobs, if you know what I mean. And I guess that's why some people are just not wired artistically, you know, and have things like autism, where they have, like, niche artistic interests, like myself, where we just don't operate in a way the world functions in, if you know what I mean, because I kind of think I don't. But, like, the system makes you out like you got something wrong with you when you don't operate like that to a level I probably do. You know, like having Asperger's and that. Well, yeah, I think, like, what that Brian Eno video, that interview, that I kind of agree with what he's saying. obviously some people don't really have a choice but to work, to make a living, feed the families and all that. But I think like one of my ultimate dreams is to make a living out of, like a stable living out of creating art, like doing like electronic sort of like ambient sort of music. Like that's one of my ultimate dreams, like just having more of a freedom to just do what I want to do, which I kind of do. So it's probably I have that opportunity to do that at the minute. I'm quite lucky in that sense, I guess. So I guess like if you look at life in that way, like yeah, you're not employed, but you can still do something with your life, if you know what I mean. Write a novel, create art, make music. Like you can make music on your iPad. And that's basically what I do. And I think that's like the message of this video, like if you're in that position where you feel useless and you're unemployed for whatever reason, like illness, disability, even laziness, use something with your time. Like not everyone's probably that really creative minded, if you know what I mean, but I guess that's what Brian Eno was trying to say, and it's quite inspiring, if you know what I mean. Like just use something with your time while you've got it, like do something with it. Like if you create like music, approach like some students, like some like film students or animation students, and ask them, oh, like I make music, would you like someone to like make the music for your film, like your short film or whatever they're doing? And that's something to put on your CV. Like, yeah, you probably have to work for free, more than likely for that, but you making use of your craft, if you know what I mean. But I think that's my main thing at the minute, like making like ambient sort of music, like that's my main sort of craft, though, as an artist. And I'd like to probably do something where I can use music and do something visually, like, do something in like an art gallery where I make some sort of like visuals with my music, if you know what I mean. It probably suits that. I don't know if it'll get me anywhere, but it's an idea. Like I think you making spectrograms is sort of that to a level, but I guess like I don't know, do some like videos or something, videography or something like that, and do something where the image moves to the beat of the song, if you know what I mean, like, and put that like projected in like around a room, like in a gallery. That's something I'd quite like to do. Like, I think that could be quite interesting. It's probably similar to what people like Brian Eno and other sort of ambient sort of artists do. Like, they use ambient music as like a tool, like as an art form to create art, visual art. Like, that's something I kind of would like to do a bit. But yeah, I think that's all I've got to say in this video. That's my response to that interview, and I think it's quite inspiring, in all honesty. Like, let me know your thoughts in the comments. I would be interested to know your opinion and stuff. Catch you in another video. Goodbye.